Are you looking for a reliable and robust approval system for Confluence? Do you need to put your Confluence content and pages through a approval process? Well, look no further. Capable Approval provides multiple ways that you can automate and request approval from your staff and other teams. So today I'm going to show you 3 different ways that you can set up Capable Approval. The first will be manual approval, so how you can do an ad hoc approval request to certain users. The second will be automating this so that any new pages within a certain space will get a certain team assigned to them, either when the page is published or when it is updated. And finally, I'll also show you how to route approvals using labels, which also means you can automate your approvals and route different types of pages to different teams for approval. And each of these approval teams can have their own settings and own options. So different kinds of pages could have a different expiration date, or they could require different users or different numbers of users to approve. So let's get started with the first approach, which is just simply manually requesting users to approve. So if you click Capable at the top of the page, or if you're on Capable Approval, you'll simply click on the Approval option at the top. So you can see we can request approval from different users, and this really easily shows us how this is going to be set up. Or we can use teams, which I'll show you after this how to set up, which basically predefine the users and the settings that you'd like applied to the page. So I'm simply going to ask a user for approval, and I'm going to click Send Request. And it's as simple as that to send an ad hoc approval. The user in question will receive, or the users that you've added and asked, will receive an email, and they will also receive a Slack notification if your administrator has connected your instance to your Slack site. Once you've requested approval, you'll notice at the top of the page that it now shows a new element that says In Review. And this is the way that your users will go onto the page, and they'll see at the top that this document is in review. And simply by clicking on that, it will open up your approval panel. Or if you're one of the users that needs to approve, it will instantly take you to the response panel here, where you can type in a response or some comments for that user who requested the approval. So in this case, I'm simply going to respond so that you can see the approval process in action. Now, because I'm the only approver here, the page will be approved after this. As you can see, it's changed to approved. And by clicking on me, I can see the comment that I left and when I left it. And as you can see, the page is now marked as approved. So this page will remain approved unless the expiration date comes up, if you set one up, or if someone modifies the page, as the new data will mean that you need to put it back through your approval process here. So I just showed you how to simply ask users for approval on an ad hoc basis, but let's take a look at creating teams now, which allow you to predefine these settings and the options that you'd like to apply. So if we open up the space settings, and if you go to integrations and click on Capable or Capable Approval, depending on which product you're using, and then go to the approval tab, and you'll see the first set of options we get here are to set up teams. So you can create teams at a space level if you're a space admin, or you can create them globally as well if you're a Confluence admin. So in this case, I'd like to set up a space team. So this team will only be available in this space, and we can call it the top management team, and we can either select a Confluence group. So we could click a group and it's going to pre-fill who the people are. And this is automatically updated when the group membership changes. Or we can select users here. So we can select from different icons and we can change the color. And if we click create, you'll see now we've got a space team here. Now, once you've set up a team, you've created it, you now need to come in here and actually configure what options you'd like. So under this management team, I'm going to click enable, and then I can configure how many people need to approve the page here, how many need to reject, whether I'd like the page to expire, and whether I'd also like to publish, which is a separate feature, which we've got a few videos on how to set up publishing or synchronizing from one space to another when a page gets approved. So if I click Save Changes there, we've just created a space team. And we've also configured it to work in this space. So if we go back and, for example, we can create a new page. Now, when we go onto the approval option here, you'll notice that we now have our management team there. So if I tick this, it's automatically set the expiration settings. It's auto-filled the users who are being requested. And we can simply click Send Request. And so we've turned that process of clicking maybe 6 or 7 times and setting up each page approval one by one, we've turned that into a single click, or maybe 3 clicks if you count opening the menu. So that was the first method of asking for approval. But what about automating this? So beyond manual and beyond ad hoc selecting the teams, what if we would like to basically have every page in this space automatically assigned an approval when it's created? So for this, if we jump back into our space settings here and go to the automation tab, you can see we've got a few options here, and the top one here is the one that we're going to look at right now. And we're going to move on to the team routing using labels afterwards. So for me, I would like to, when a page is created or published in this space, I would like to automatically assign the new team that I created. And if we click save, now, whenever we create, or more accurately publish a page in this space, it's going to automatically have that approval team assigned to it. Now, the other option here that you can see is to add the approval on a page update. So this is handy if you're adding capable to a space that's existed for, say, years, and you already have content in it, and you would like to gradually, when new versions are created, you'd like to move each piece of content onto the approval process. So if you tick this option, then whenever a page is updated that doesn't have an approval already, it will have this team assigned to it. But for this example, I'm just going to do the page creation here. So let's give it a go. Let's show how this works. If we create a new page, you can see now that our page has been published that the assignment of the approval has already been added automatically. So without us having to do anything, without our staff having to understand our approval process, we've actually automatically had this added. And I can see on my phone that I have received Slack notifications in my case, but also emails, depending on what options you've selected. So it really takes all the guesswork out of your approval process by doing this. Obviously, this works generally for generic use cases. So say you've got a space and you've only got one group of people who need to approve things, then this kind of makes things really easy. Easy for you to get your approvals in and easy to streamline the process a lot. And as you can see, I've just approved the page there. So what about if you'd like a much more advanced, or you want to route approvals to certain teams or people? We can do that with labels. So we've implemented a new feature that allows you to route to different approval teams based on the label being applied to a page. So again, let's hop into the space settings and set this up first. So now that we're on the space settings here, we can click on to the automation page again. And we will, for this example, we'll turn off the default team that we implemented earlier. And instead, we're going to implement this. So route approvals by page label. Now, to show you later, I'm going to enable both adding this on a page create and a page update. So if you click add label mapping, you can now select from a list of labels in your system, and you can route those to an appropriate team. So for example, let's choose meeting notes, and I'd like to route that to the same team we picked earlier. And I can click save. And for example, let's pick another label that we can use here. So let's pick campaign, and we'll send that to the legal team, for example. And we'll click save. And now we've got this set up to route by page label. So let's give that a go again. Let's show you all the different ways you can automate from this simple label-based routing. So this one is a legal document. So I'd like it to be assigned to the legal team. And in the example, I think I chose campaign label. We can add those labels before we create the page, and this will automatically assign it to the right team. So as you can see, we created our page, we had the label attached, and now if we open up approval, we can see that the legal team has been assigned to the page because we had that set up in our routing options. And similarly, if I create another page, so in this case, I think we selected the meeting notes label, and that should route it to the top management team. So in this case, instead of adding the label on creation, we could try adding the label before we do an update to the page. So if we simply add a label here and we put meeting notes in. So it's important to note that simply adding the label is not enough because the triggers run on the page being created or updated. So now that we've added our label, if we now go and update the page, you can see that actually the different team has been applied now. So the routing works perfectly with page creation or page updates. So I've just showed you how to route teams using more of a manual approach where you actually add these labels yourself, but there's actually a bunch of other things we can do here. So we can create templates which have labels attached, and then we can add buttons to pages which allow you to create new pages with that label already attached, which will automatically route it to the right team. We can also use automation to set up rules that will govern if a button's pressed or a user is added to the system or a new space is created. Really, there's a whole lot of stuff we can automate and create pages with approvals assigned. So the first approach I'm going to show you is how to create templates with labels attached that we can then use to automatically route. So if we jump into space settings first, and if we go to the look and feel section and templates, from here, we can create a new template. So this is going to be, for example, let's pick the meeting notes. And in here, you'd put any information you'd like to, pre-fill the page. Or you could leave it blank if you would just like a blank page, but with the routing applied. So the trick here is now that you've created your template, if you click on the three dots in the top right and you click add labels. And in here, if we type in the label that we've mapped to the approval team and click save, we can now promote that template, which will mean that when you create a new page, it will be suggested as a new, what to start from. So looking at it from a manual approach, if you click to create new page, you'll either see at the bottom of the page here, or inside the all templates section, you'll see a list of all the templates you've created. So usually this appears down here where the 3 items are. So by promoting the templates, you'll have easy access to create new ones. But if you can't see it there, you simply go onto this all templates and you can click on your meeting notes template. And then we can give it a name and we can click publish. And now that our page has been published from the template, you can see here that the approval has been automatically assigned, and it's been assigned to the correct team based on the routing settings that I showed you earlier. Now, using templates in that way can be a bit confusing for users. So what I would recommend is by using automation or by using the create from template button, we can actually provide a button on a page we've created. So if we create a new page here, and this will be the kind of head page that all of our meeting notes are going to go under. So what we can do is we can type /template, and you can see there's a macro called create from template. Now, what this lets you do is to select a template that you've created and write some descriptive button text here. So we could say create new meeting note. And we click save. Now we've got a button here, which when we click it, will automatically create a new page with that template applied, which therefore will also apply the label and assign it to the right approval team. And one thing that I like to do also is we can add a search table here, so we can see all of the meeting notes that have been created so far. And what we could do here is just configure this to, for example, only look in the current space and look for labels or pages with the label that we selected. And now what we can do also is choose what kind of columns we'd like here. So we could say we want the title, the version, who created the page, as well as the approval status and when it was completed. And if we click save, now you've got you've got a button here to create a new meeting note, and any meeting notes you create will also be in this table below, giving you at a glance view at what the status is, the approval status is of each of those meeting notes. So let's give it a go. If we click create new meeting notes here, you can see it's created a page underneath the page that we click the button on. And this allows us to insert all of our meeting notes and click publish. And as you can see, the approval has automatically been assigned and the requests have automatically been sent. So you could ask everyone in the meeting to, for example, provide their feedback on how they think the meeting went. And if we go back up to the main page here, so our contents page where we have the button to create a new meeting notes page, you can now see that we've got our list of meeting notes, and we can also see that the page that I just approved is also showing up as approved there. So you can see it's really easy using the buttons and templates to create a guided way for your staff to request approval, write documents, and not really be too worried or concerned about the process that it's going through. So I'll show you one more way that you can do this, which is with automation. So if we go up to the space settings again, and we click automation, from here, we can create rules, so automation rules, which run based on particular triggers. So if we click on create from scratch, you can see here that we have a ton of different triggers that we could use. So for example, we could say when a user is added to a particular group, we would like to create a page based on that action. We could create a new page based on a schedule. So say your meeting notes every week on a Monday, you could automatically create a page from a template and automatically have the approval assigned to it for people. So that in the morning, they just come in and they get a notification and they can instantly jump to the meeting notes for that week. You could also do this when a project or now a space in Jira is created. So for example, you want to collect some information from users about why they created the space in Jira. You want to have some governance information, things like that. You can automate this off of that as well. And you can also do manual triggers from a page as well. So in our case, let's create a trigger which when a space is deleted it will trigger a new page to be created. So let's say when a space is deleted, I would like to create a page. So publish a new page here. And what we would like to do is inside the existing space here, we can create a page. We can also use things called smart values. So we could say this space has been deleted. So space name and space key. So in this example, it's going to have that page name that's automatically generated. And we can also pick the template that we picked, which routes the label correctly. So we're going to select the same one as before, just for simplicity's sake. And we're going to save and enable this. But I hope you can see that this can really be used for anything. You can set up triggers based on anything to create pages with templates in a specific place and with particular users being assigned to it. So here's a space I created earlier. Let's go ahead and delete this space. And you can see here that the page has been automatically created and it's automatically had the team assigned to it. And this will allow the user that deleted the page to provide some more information about why they deleted it. But also more interesting use cases would be, say, you have a new staff member joining, they automatically get added to a group in Azure, or they get added to a group in Google Workspace. And you can automatically create a onboarding guide for them with a questionnaire on it. And this will automatically run whenever you get new employees joining the team. So I hope that's been useful to see a little bit about how you can automate your approval process in Confluence using 3 different approaches. A manual approach, either by selecting users or creating predefined teams, or you could create a rule where every single page in the space gets automatically assigned an approval. Or finally, you can use the routing feature using labels to automatically route pages to the right approval group. I hope that's been useful. I hope you can apply this to your team and you can optimize your workflows and speed up and get more value from Confluence.